you taking the plea deal. I think he even said he hopes you die in jail and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard.
He pulled off. The hammer back on the gun.
Charleston White messed with the wrong one this time, because Boosie ain't just out here talking about clout or internet beef anymore. He's talking about cold, hard evidence, real serious stuff. Stuff that, according to Boosie, could have Charleston looking at life behind bars. Yeah, you heard that right. Boosie's claiming there's murder-for-hire evidence dating all the way back to 2005, and he says it ties directly to Charleston White. If what Boosie's hinting at is even halfway true, this whole situation just went from funny online drama to something that could wreck a man's entire life. He might really be facing jail time for real. And then there's that clip floating around, Boosie saying, "I prayed for him to be found guilty." Y'all don't remember? No, I remember. No cap. That line alone had the internet spinning. People are replaying it, dissecting it, trying to figure out if Boosie knows more than he's letting on. This story's wild, and it's only getting nastier by the day. Boosie and Charleston White been trading shots for a minute now. Every other week, one drops something slick online, and the other fires back even harder. It used to be all talk, all laughs, all content, until now. Because this latest move from Boosie didn't sound like trolling, it sounded like a real warning. On a recent live stream, Boosie didn't hold anything back. He said straight up, "Y'all keep playing with me, man. I got paperwork. I got proof." Charleston think he clean, but he got dirt too. Real dirt. 2005 type dirt. And that line right there froze the whole chat. Fans went silent because everyone knew what that meant. When Boosie mentions 2005, he's talking about a dangerous chapter. One filled with real street heat, indictments, and life or death consequences. That was the same time Boosie was caught up in his own murder-for-hire case. His name was all over the news. The feds were watching his every move, and his whole world was chaos. So when a man like that, someone who's seen it all and beat the system, says there's evidence linking Charleston White to that same era, people stop scrolling and start paying attention. Because Boosie ain't talking from imagination, he's talking from experience. He's been through the fire and came out the other side. So when he says, "I got proof on you," that's not just talk, that's a warning. And this right here, this is where the whole mess started spiraling. Charleston White's been poking the bear for months now. He built his entire brand off calling rappers out, saying they're fake, that they glorify crime, that they poison the youth. And he's come for Boosie more than once, calling him a hypocrite for talking about change while still celebrating the streets. Every time Charleston dropped Boosie's name, you could see that fire in Boosie's eyes getting hotter. But Charleston didn't back off. He doubled down. He even joked about Boosie's prison time, saying, "Some folks come out acting like they learned something, but they still got that same devil in them."
Things this case has stopped me from doing, traveling all across the world, making. So I just want to get it over with, and, I accept my guilty plea. I'm ready to get over with.
That one line hit deep, and from that moment, things started to boil over fast. That was the spark that lit the whole fire. Once Boosie heard that clip, it was over. He completely lost it. According to people close to him, that's when Boosie started talking heavy about receipts. He said Charleston wasn't as clean as he pretends to be, that he had real skeletons from back in the day, and Boosie claimed he could prove it. Then Boosie went live and dropped a straight-up bombshell. He said, 2005, Baton Rouge, Fort Worth. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Ask Charleston what he was doing when that hit went down. Ask him why that paperwork never came out. He playing a role? I'm exposing the real him. The comments went crazy. Fans were spamming question marks, emojis, and theories. People wanted answers. What hit? What evidence? Could Charleston White really be involved in something that deep? And of course, Charleston fired back immediately, because Charleston White ain't scared of nobody. That's literally his whole brand, calling out rappers, facing controversy head on, and never backing down. At first, he brushed it off, laughing and saying, "Boosie ain't got nothing."
He just pled guilty, and he's facing up to 15.
God answered my prayers.
Why?
Because I prayed for him to be found guilty. Y'all don't remember? Remember, I prayed.
No, I remember.
If he did, I'd be in jail right now. But then he slipped up. In another video, Charleston said, "Whatever happened in 2005, I was a different man back then. I did things I ain't proud of, and that one line, it set the internet on fire." Fans replayed it 1,000 times, dissecting every word. Because when you're denying something, you don't usually say it like that. Boosie caught that clip instantly. He posted his own reaction, sitting back with that cold, confident grin, saying, "See, that's how you know I struck a nerve."
Boosie going to jail! Oh, God! Oh, God!
That moment right there made it clear. This wasn't just talk anymore. This was personal, and both men knew the other was ready to take it there. Now the tension was real. Let's get one thing straight. Nobody's saying Charleston White has officially been charged or tied to any kind of murder-for-hire plot, but the way Boosie laid it out had everyone's eyes wide open. He claimed there was a trail, that Charleston had ties to some heavy street figures in Texas back in the mid-2000s, folks who were caught up in violent crimes, and some of them are still behind bars today. Boosie didn't hold back either. He said, y'all think Charleston turned activist because he found God? Nah, he turned activist because he trying to cover up his past. That line hit hard. Whether Boosie was playing mind games or really exposing something, he definitely hit Charleston where it hurts, right in the core of his image. See, Charleston built his whole reputation on redemption, on being the man who walked away from the streets and started preaching against the same life he once lived. So when Boosie dragged up that 2005 case and threw around the words murder for hire, it shook that entire image. The internet went crazy. Within hours, Reddit threads were blowing up. Old mugshots and grainy newspaper clippings started resurfacing. People were posting screenshots, timelines, and wild theories like detectives on a mission. Did Charleston White really have ties to a 2005 shooting? Twitter was on fire. Some fans said Boosie was bluffing, that he was just trying to humiliate Charleston for clout. But others swore Boosie's too calculated to make something this deep up. Either way, Charleston wasn't staying silent anymore. He jumped on camera, face red, voice raised, shouting straight into the lens, "You can't scare me!" Boosie fired off again, but this time Charleston snapped right back. He said, "Boosie, you can't threaten me with jail. I done seen it all. I done beat cases too," but people could hear it. His tone wasn't the same. The confidence wasn't as strong. The energy wasn't as fearless. He sounded rattled. And that's when Boosie turned the pressure all the way up. Boosie doubled down hard, saying, "If Charleston want to play with me, I'm gonna send the whole file to the feds. They missed something last time. I'ma help them see it this time." That line shook everyone watching. Because you don't bring up the feds unless you're really ready for a war. You don't call a man out like that unless you're confident you've got something real to back it up. That's why this situation hit different. This wasn't about internet trash talk anymore. This was about power, about who controls the story, who holds the receipts, and who's willing to risk it all to silence the other. See, Boosie and Charleston might look like opposites, but they're really two sides of the same coin. Boosie's the street legend, a man who lived that life, took the hits, did the time, and came back with the scars to prove it. Charleston's the reformed one, a former street dude turned activist who built his fame by calling out rappers for glorifying the same streets he once survived. But here's the twist. Beneath all the tough talk, both men carry ghosts. Boosie said, 2005 ain't gone. And that wasn't just a threat, that was a warning. A reminder that no matter how far you run, the past has a way of catching up. Sources close to Charleston say he's been moving real cautious since Boosie's statements. He's watching who he talks to, cleaning up his socials, and trying to keep things quiet. But when the internet smells blood, it never stays quiet for long. Charleston's been laying low lately, even canceling a few public appearances. Some people say he's scared, others say he's just playing it smart. But either way, Boosie's definitely got him on defense. And when a man like Charleston White, a guy who built his entire image on being fearless, starts looking over his shoulder, that means the threat hit deep. Meanwhile, Boosie's out here riding the wave like a pro. He's been dropping cryptic posts, teasing receipts, and keeping everyone guessing. In one clip, he looked straight at the camera and said, "I don't bluff, I bring truth. Y'all gonna see soon enough." That line alone sent fans into a frenzy. Classic Boosie. He knows exactly how to keep a crowd locked in suspense. But here's the twist. Even some of Boosie's own fans are nervous now. Because if he really does have those old case files, those dusty witness statements or paperwork from back in the day, and he actually puts it out there for the world to see, that could reopen a lot of old wounds. Cases the law might have already closed could suddenly come roaring back to life, and it might even drag him right back into the fire too. That's what makes this story so tense. Boosie knows the system, inside and out. He's seen firsthand what happens when the streets and the courts collide, when names get dropped and old secrets resurface. So the fact that he's even hinting at releasing that kind of info means one thing: he's not playing anymore. Boosie seems ready to take things all the way, just to make Charleston White stop talking.
Look at Charleston White's head.
Snitch ass nigga. Alright.
What's up?
But now the big question is why? What's Boosie's motive here? Why dig this deep and bring up something as serious as murder for hire from nearly 20 years ago? Some say it's straight up revenge, that Charleston's been disrespecting Boosie's family, talking about his parenting, his past, and his music for way too long. So now Boosie's snapping back, showing he's not one to be played with. Others think it's strategic, that Boosie's trying to flip the script and put Charleston in the hot seat for once. Keep him busy defending himself instead of running his mouth about everyone else. Whatever the reason is, one thing's for sure, Boosie's playing a dangerous game, because if he's bluffing, this could backfire badly. But if he's telling the truth, then Charleston might really have something to lose. Charleston's reactions since then have been all over the place. Some days he laughs it off like none of it bothers him, saying Boosie just trying to stay relevant. But on other days, he's on live for minutes straight, red-faced and heated, ranting about snitches and fake gangsters. You can feel it in the air. This feud's getting darker, heavier, and a lot less funny. It stopped being entertainment, and it's starting to feel like real life. And that's when people start stepping back. Because fans love drama, but nobody wants to see it turn deadly. Behind the scenes, insiders are whispering that both camps got people trying to cool things down. Mutual friends are calling for peace, trying to get the two to stop before it goes too far. OGs from Baton Rouge in Texas are warning them to chill, because once the wrong eyes start paying attention, it's a wrap. Both of them know exactly what's at stake, but Boosie still ain't backing down. In a recent interview, he said, "I don't make up lies. If I say something, it's 'cause I got proof. I don't bluff on a man's freedom. I talk facts." That was Boosie sending a clear message. He's standing on everything he said. No backing up, no second thoughts. Charleston wasn't about to stay quiet either. He clapped back hard, saying, "If you got evidence, show it. Otherwise, you the one playing police." That right there summed up the whole war between them. Two men daring each other to prove they're real, both fighting to protect their image while the world watches like it's a boxing match. And of course, the internet's eating it up. Titles like Charleston White scared of Boosie, Boosie bringing receipts, and 2005 murder files leak are flooding YouTube, and TikTok clips are being reposted. Fan edits are everywhere, and everyone's picking sides. But while the online crowd laughs and argues, people who actually know these two, real folks from their circles, are saying this is no joke. Because once words like murder and evidence start flying around, things can turn ugly fast. What starts as clout chasing can end up as a tragedy if one wrong move gets made. Boosie said something recently that stuck with fans. "People forget. I done seen real death. I done seen real prison. I don't fear no man, but I fear lies. Don't lie on me, 'cause I'll show the truth." That line hit different. And maybe that's the heart of this whole feud. It's not just about pride or revenge anymore. It's about fear. Fear of being exposed, fear of being forgotten, fear of losing control of the story. Both Boosie and Charleston built their entire brands on never backing down. But now, they backed themselves into a corner where the only way out might be escalation. So where does this all go next? If Boosie really got proof, if that 2005 evidence really exists and connects Charleston White to a hit, then we're talking about something that could blow the roof off everything. It could spark new investigations, fresh headlines, and maybe even real charges. But if it turns out to be all talk, just Boosie flexing his past to intimidate Charleston, then he's playing a dangerous bluff that could backfire hard and crush his own credibility. Either way, one thing's guaranteed. Somebody's reputation isn't making it out of this clean. Right now, the world's locked in, watching and waiting to see who folds first. On one side, you got Charleston White, the loudest voice in internet culture, suddenly being forced to defend his past. And on the other, Boosie Badazz, the man who once beat the system, now daring somebody else to face it. It's pride versus power, streets versus speech, and the stakes couldn't be higher, because this time, it's not about likes, clout, or views, it's about life in prison. So what do you think? Is Boosie bluffing, or does he really got something heavy on Charleston White? And if that evidence turns out to be real, what happens next? Because one thing's for sure, this feud isn't cooling down anytime soon. The streets are whispering, the internet's watching, and every new video just keeps throwing more gasoline on the fire. When it comes to drama, it doesn't get louder, messier, or more unpredictable than this. This is FameWhisp. Hit that like button, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. You don't want to miss the next chapter, because the way this story's unfolding, the next one might just be the explosion nobody's ready for. See you in the next one.